the squeeze. he is barely my assholes.
Hello. Yo, can you guys hear me now? I think you can hear me now. Thank you for saying you couldn't hear any sounds. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So, we're going to get back in here. Now you guys can hear me. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. I was talking to myself. Grinds my gears was talking to myself. I had my music going. My grind. I appreciate you guys sticking in here while I was doing the bullshit. So, nobody heard anything that I said, which is wonderful. Because I'm going to say it again. To myself. My thing is creaking like a son of a bitch. There we go. Alright, now. I'm going to stop messing around with the microphone. Audience of one. I agree with myself. Let's pat myself on the back.
No deal.
At least you can hear the soundboard, right? You can hear my Arnold's no deal? Yeah, we're there. Ha ha! Well, thank you, Jemiah, for your support. I know everybody said they're coming in here from Jemiah's tweet on. Thank you very much. Alright, so we're back. Alright, so I gotta remember what I said, but I know where I'm going back to. Alright. So, we're gonna talk about Xbox Scarlet and the PlayStation 5 because all the shit that's been going on the Twitter feeds in the last 2 days was Phil Spencer with his Phil Ness and the presentation of Xbox Scarlet, PlayStation 5 tweets from eons ago about talking to investors and all their other bullshit, and Bootios saying that he thinks that they're going to make the most powerful console. Listen, the most powerful console, we don't know. Phil Spencer actually even said it with his Phil Ness. Said it on Giant Bomb's thing that he doesn't have a PS5 dev kit, so he cannot commit to say I'm the most powerful console. But why? Why are people belaboring this topic? Is it because Phil, when just a year and a half ago, talked about Project Scorpio and said that he will never cease to power? Let me explain something. Microsoft is walking a real thin line when talking about power, okay? The most powerful console in the world is here today. The most powerful console is at your Best Buy right now. And it's actually on sale. The most powerful console in the world, the Xbox One X, is out now. Are people lining up? Did people line up in November for it? Did it win NPDs since it launched? The most powerful console in the world. Has it turned the tide? Because power is everything? And Microsoft did nothing. A year and a half out on the E3 biggest stage in the world for gaming. And Microsoft didn't show they didn't talk about any X enhancements. They didn't talk about any games that look better on X or running on an X or showing any first party games that run on an X. They didn't even acknowledge that the X exists a year and a half out. How many times can you sell ice to an Eskimo? Please.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. And I want to have them answered immediately.
How? Where's the X? They were chewing on fucking microchips. Like they were Pringles. A year and a half ago, Aaron Greenberg was wiping his ass with microchips. And now they don't even acknowledge the X exists. There was nothing on that stage that, I'm not even talking about messaging, like what runs best on the X. No, it was Xbox Game Pass, 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 Xbox Game Pass.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
Meanwhile, there's a problem going on here. The PS4 Pro, you got to use a microscope and a fucking electron microscope a 300X on Digital Foundry to find out the differences between the Pro and the X with all these teraflops. Flops out the ass. I just don't... They did not use any leverage that they could have had with the X at all. And devs are not wasting their time with it. And then, therefore, it's up to Microsoft to show what the power of their console can do. And they didn't. But instead, they planted the carrot. Like the fucking Easter Bunny. Oh, the most powerful console ever is Project Scarlet that's coming. It's like, fool me once.
No deal.
You know, I was thinking about it. And this is where the issue comes in. We're going to get into it. This is where the issue comes. Microsoft, think about, we'll take you back 2 years ago, right? And this is about power, right? We're talking about the power love. When the PlayStation 4 Pro was announced, that same year that the X tried to jump ahead, right? Project Scorpio was announced. They announced 2 consoles in the same conference, 2017, right? Right? When that came out, the Xbox One X was a show. Microsoft blew their load showing the Xbox One X. Like it was the next coming. Do you remember how the PlayStation showed the PlayStation 4 Pro? It was like in a fucking little bunker with like 100 people sitting in there. Mark Cerny putting people to sleep. And Andrew House handing out tea and crumpets. It was a small little venue. Here's the Pro. Here's Horizon Zero Dawn in the back room. It was a little thing. Microsoft had worldwide launch parties. Aaron Greenberg and Albert Pinello running around holding this thing up, wearing jackets, the monsters coming, chewing on microchips, and blew their load on the Xbox One X reveal and launch. The PlayStation 4 Pro was announced sort of like, hey, we got a more powerful console. It runs 20 teraflops. Oh, the 4 teraflops. It's going to run your VR better. Come closer to the microphone. Let me whisper in your ear. It's amazing. We're not going to brute force 4K. We're going to use checkerboard rendering. Here comes Tea and Crumpets presented by Sony. And please buy our PlayStation 4 Pro. It's going to be $400. Meanwhile, X is going to give it to you. We're bringing microchips. Worldwide launch. Oh my God. Like, and then, just a year and a half later, they go, oh, there's another console coming. It's like, what? You didn't even maximize any kind of thing for the $500. And guess what? The Xbox One X is still $500. Yes, it's on sale for $400, but it's still MSRP of $500. This E3, a year and a half out, the only show in town, Microsoft should have used this to leverage the power of the X by showing amazing games and dropping the price of the X. They did nothing. They said it's on sale for $100. Tried to clear out some stuff. On top of that, they didn't even address the digital version. Like, Microsoft is just dumping hardware out there and really not doing anything for support. And now they're doing it again with Scarlet. Meanwhile, Sony went low-key with the PlayStation 4 Pro and probably is going to do their balls to the wall with the PlayStation 5. But Microsoft already orgasmed. They already came to climax a year and a half ago. Are they going to have multiple climaxes in a 2-year span? And then the other factor, as we're talking about power, is that the Xbox Scarlet, the people who line up for that and get Halo Infinite as a launch title, all right? You are not getting the definitive edition of Halo Infinite because Microsoft chose to put your games on unlimited power on PC. And if power is the ultimate reason why you're buying a next-gen console and why you want to line up for Scarlet, and you care so much about the frames and the resolution, why are you even bothering with the console? Why? Just go get a computer. Oh, I don't like PC gaming. Microsoft lets you plug in the same controller. They have a dashboard. They have a launch app. That's the difference. God of War probably would look better on a PC. But guess what? Sony don't play that game. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he?
I don't play this game.
Sony don't play that game. So the best version, the definitive version of God of War is on the PlayStation 4 Pro. And it will be on the PlayStation 5. Now, if Sony does what Microsoft's doing, then we're all fucked. Go get a PC. But Sony is showing their games looking the best on their console as a console manufacturer would. And I'm not just talking Sony.
I don't play this game.
Nintendo is doing the same thing. You don't see them making Zelda available on Android phones. No. They are making their games look and play best on their console. And Microsoft is still trying to sell you the most powerful console in the world when you know the reason why you buy the most powerful console in the world is not to run around in the street with your dick out going, I got the most powerful console in the world. It's to play games best, right? It's about the games, right? Right? Is that what it's about?
Who is your daddy?
Or you run around the street going, who's your daddy with the most powerful console?
Who is your daddy?
Is that what you're doing, the most powerful console in the world? Do you buy Xbox Scarlet if it's more powerful and go knock on your neighbor's door and go, I got the most powerful console in the world? No, you're there for the games. And if you turn on Halo Infinite on your Xbox Scarlet, you know deep in that little brain, deep, that you are.
Don't bullshit me.
You're getting bullshitted because you know deep in that brain you're not playing the best Halo. You're not playing the best version of Halo. You're not. Your boys like Kev the Gamer. Shout out Kev. Meds. Shout out to Meds. PC Beasts. 2080 Ti's and fucking teraflops galore. They're playing the best version of Halo. And you want to know what's even better? They're not playing it in a little room somewhere. Oh no, motherfucker. They're playing in your games at 120 frames per second, owning your ass. Who owns the most powerful console in the world, Xbox Scarlet? Those PC dudes, they're owning your ass. Just ask those guys in Sea of Thieves how those PC dudes own their pirate ass. With all those friggin', all the fucking mouse shit and all that other stuff. Inversion, all that crazy shit. Aim assist and all that other stuff. So why does it matter if Xbox Scarlet is the most powerful? What does it matter? You're not playing games best on that. If you live in a little console world, then maybe you do. But the PC, Halo's gonna play best. Thank you, Gio. I appreciate the support, man. Games are gonna play best on PC. And that's Microsoft's decision. Because in their thick head, they think that the PC gamer, console gamer, mobile gamer, they're, Game & Watch gamers, they're all the same people. And they might be the same person, but they're playing different games on all those fucking devices. They're not playing the same game. But that's another story. But Microsoft has this caveat of trying to sell you the most powerful console in the world. But PC is where their games are going to play best. So that's a nice dilemma that Xbox has. And not only that, but they just released the most powerful console in the world that's still out today and haven't really shown that much support from themselves. Third parties trying to do what they can do. But from themselves. And what's hilarious to me is that we're talking the power of the next-gen consoles. And I take a look and see what Microsoft Game Studios is offering. And I look at fucking Battletoads. What is that going to look like on Scarlet? I can't wait. What is Battletoads going to look like? What is Bleeding Edge going to look like? What is Sea of Thieves going to look like? Is State of Decay not going to have glitches and bugs on Xbox Scarlet? Does it? The games that they've shown, are those games that we can't wait? Are they games that will like shit? Are those cross-gen games? Were those cross-gen games? No. But when we saw Ghost of Tsushima, when we saw Last of Us 2, when we saw Death Stranding, people were like, oh, those are next-gen PlayStation games. There's no way that's running on a PlayStation. Oh, really? Well, I wish Microsoft would show some of that shit. Because that's not everything that they're showing is not justifying having the most powerful console. Okay? So that's the dilemma right now that they have put everybody in. That if you care... Man, I heard somebody talking about ray tracing and the flops and I don't even... The ABCs and rectal transplants. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. But if they're doing some hardwired ray tracing and ass rubbing... I can't even make up fucking words because that shit was crazy. But it doesn't matter. It is about the games. It is about the content. It is about price. It is about power, price, and content. But guess what? Don't take it from me. Take it from who? Who, Jez? Who? Here he is. Albert Pinello. You remember him. 3 things that are important. If you don't remember Albert Pinello is the dude that basically said that the Xbox One was a Ferrari. And this was a long race. It wasn't a sprint. But that's when he was speaking bullshit and he worked for Microsoft. Now he works for Amazon and he talks sense. 3 things that are important. They are, in equal measure, price, power, content. The key is how you balance these 3 things. And at least one of them is very subjective. This is why the debate is endless. It's not one of these that matter. It's all of them. So let's go. Let's just use 2013 as an example. Price, power, and content. So what do we have? Sony had the price at $400. Microsoft was at $500. Power. Sony had the leverage of power with the RAM at launch. That. Content. This is where it was a little testy because Microsoft did have some content at launch, and I think they had better content than the PlayStation 4. But PlayStation was able to really embrace the indies, and everybody was on their indie love for some reason in 2013. Like, indies were on stage, and everybody loved the indie darlings. Now I think we're tired of 8-bit games. I think everybody has just worn out the indie scene with 8-bit games so much that I think indies are kind of like, yo, dude, enough. But it was nice at launch. And I think Sony was able to leverage that content because I remember the thing was it was the power and the price. Xbox did have some big games at launch. So Sony had a better balance of all 3 of these. Microsoft did not have the power. They had the Kinect, which brought the price and the content. And then you look at what the Switch is doing now. Switch is $300, not really the price, but the power's weak. But it got the content. But the content, I think, is the most important thing. I understand he goes the power and price. That's big at launch. But it's the content. And this guy, He worked at Microsoft. He was hosting up the Xbox One X. He was one of the lead. He was like what Greenberg is the software. He was the hardware. But now he's gone. So I don't know who's gonna refill his steps. I have no clue. But it's about the content, okay? And that's what Microsoft needed to do at this E3. This E3, Microsoft needed to lay the roadmap out and show the content to get you excited to buy their product and to want to invest into their future. And they didn't. They failed hardcore gamers. They failed the casuals. They failed the streaming people. They failed a lot of people this E3. And I think a lot of people are not really... I think a lot of people are acknowledging it. But I think there's some people that are just not acknowledging it. They really, really, really did a doozy this E3. They laid a big dump on that stage. You could see it from the sense of the crowd. This E3 was bad. And I agree with Kid Smooth. 2013 was such a better E3 than this one. This was a bad E3. This E3 was analogous of like the Kinect dock years of when they had like the little baby animals on stage and everybody playing with them and acting all goofy and waving their hands and all that other shit and just like making it like a kiddie show. We're at that level right now. And you know why, right?
We're really focusing first on what it means to play these games on your phone. So we thought about how can we get as many people playing on a phone as possible.
Does that sound like a quote of a person who wants to sell you the most powerful console ever? Or has the most powerful console on the market?
We're really focusing first on what it means to play these games on your phone. So we thought about how can we get as many people playing on a phone as possible.
Really, I don't correlate that with like the most powerful console. I don't. Does that sound like an executive that wants to sell you the most powerful console? Like, is that like I don't get it. So when we're talking about power, it doesn't matter. Microsoft failed in showing the content. And I'm going to tell you this, and I think a lot of people are nervous because if Sony has the advantage in power next generation, it takes away the bullet point of the console of Xbox. Phil Nest, that's exactly what he did. That's what I mean. He's selling like Phil Spencer right now, this is what he's trying to do. They are trying to sell you filet mignon and trash meat in the same instance. He is trying to sell filet mignons of power, meanwhile being very vocal. He's not doing this on the sly. And he's selling you some trash chuck-ass beef on the other side. And I don't know how you could sell to both bookends like that. And I definitely think he's leaning more to the trash beef. Because he definitely wants to go to phones. And he wants to go to casuals and friendly family content. That the shit came in, like the polls and shit came in, and it showed that Microsoft showed more friendly games than Nintendo did. Microsoft had more friendly content. And actually, somebody was saying it. Like, that's the reason why they didn't show Gears of War on stage, because it was so violent. But they showed a CGI that looked pretty violent. So I don't know. Like, I don't understand how you cater to both sides and do that stuff. But they're going to be in a very tough predicament with the Xbox Scarlet, in the fact that they're not selling you the most powerful hardware to make their games look the best. They're not. Because they are putting that game day and date on PC. So Halo Infinite will look best on PC. So when you're sharing screenshots from Xbox Scarlet, you're going to have people sharing screenshots from their PC or videos that look better than yours. Now, does that make you run out and go buy one, or does that make you second guess and go, yo, if power really is my driving factor, and the Xbox Scarlet is the most powerful, do I want to invest in PC? And that's the thing that Microsoft puts in your head. With PlayStation, as of right now, they're not doing that. So the power, and the other thing is power is just hardware. It's the software that utilizes it. And hardware moves faster than software. Just ask NVIDIA and how quickly they can release graphics cards before games take advantage of those graphics cards. They talk about ray tracing. Yeah, it might have 3D support on ray tracing, but guess what? It's going to take a year or two to catch up to the power of that card can do. That's the thing. Hardware moves faster than software. That's why when you have hardware and software that work together, it is a match made in heaven. Because there's no under and over. And what does that match look like? It looks like apps on an iPad. That's why Android doesn't run well on tablets, because it's just apps for phones. But an iPad, those apps run because they're made for the A5 hardware. They're made for the hardware. God of War, how it looks on the PlayStation 4 Slim. It looks better than anything. Sharper on the Pro. But the fact that they got that game running on the PlayStation 4 Slim is a merge of hardware and software. It's not just about how many flops. Like, I think everybody's sitting here waiting to say, PlayStation 5 is 12 teraflops, Scarlet is 14 teraflops. Yo, that's it. And that's not it. It's not about... And Microsoft's not going to come out and say, you know, ours is the most powerful, when they don't know what PlayStation 5 is doing. So... they don't know. They could try to make the most powerful console. That's their target, because they're making an elite console. The Xbox One Elite, or the Xbox Elite. I would name it that, probably. But that's what they're striving to build, which is fine. But what can do ray tracing? What can do this? That's not going to matter. Because when Sony puts out a game that's only playable on the PlayStation 5, there's your Joker card. It's done. And what we're going to do? Chase down every multiplayer and go, well, this one has... You're doing it today. That's the thing. Like, you think it's going to change next generation? You're doing it today with the X and the Pro and the zoom-ins and digital foundries and people going, it's 4K. I'm playing this game in glorious 4K. And then Digital Foundry comes out and says, oh, yeah, well, it's upscaled 4K. It's dynamic resolution. You can't see it. But running around going, oh, this game's in glorious 4K. Okay. According to your eyes, yeah. And then Digital Foundry goes, oh, yeah, it's checkerboarded. Like, it's dynamic. It hits 4K sometimes if you look at the sky. It hits 4K when you look at the sky. Brian V has a question. He says, why are Xbox fans defending what Phil said about having some other games that they're wanting to show at E3, but they're too good to show now? Let's wait till next E3. You know what? That's Microsoft being the Easter Bunny again and planting the carrot. And that's the thing that grinds my gears so much. I have to play the soundbite. Because that's the thing that I just fed up. That's what got me fed up with the whole operation of those executives and how they've been running Xbox. They did this at XO18. They came to XO18 to go, I flew all the way down to Mexico. Here's a minute trailer. Joseph Staten with Crackdown. What? More on Inside Xbox in February. Rod Ferguson did it at E3. E3. As we led up to E3, the biggest stage. Everybody was tweeting about it. The biggest stage, E3. This is it. E3 is relevant. It's relevant. It's relevant. Sony not there. Boo, boo. Relevant, relevant. And Rod Ferguson comes out and says, You will play multiplayer in July and campaign in September. And check us out at Gamescom. Everybody flew to LA to see what you had to show. Oh, we're going to show you these 3 wrestlers and that. And here's some some of this escape mode. And then Phil Spencer the next day comes out at E3 and says, "Oh, I'm proud to announce XO 19 in London." E3 is not even over. It was day 1 of E3. You had your press conference Sunday. E3 started on Monday. You're announcing another event? And then in interviews, you basically say, "Oh, we got more to show." Well, you better have more to show because you didn't show shit this year. But I'm telling you right now, talking about the power and all this other stuff, I will be very surprised. And again, this is my thing. Where it is? Where is it? Another grinds my gears take. Here it is. Another one. When you see the push with Xbox Game Pass, when you saw Game Pass, right? And remember when Game Pass was an option? Now it's basically the option. Like, if you're not using Game Pass, you're probably getting screwed. It's the option now. Remember it was a option? Now it's the option. But the thing about Game Pass, the model of a subscription, is that if Microsoft committed all their games coming into the subscription model, I feel the games that you get from Sony and Nintendo, such as Mario Tennis, Zelda, games like, even the Astral Chain and God of War and Spider-Man and Days Gone and Until Dawn and these very graphically intensive, massive games, single-player games, some multiplayer in it, Uncharted. I don't think Microsoft will be making those type of games outside of Halo and Gears, which I think they're going to find a way to make those games service games. I wouldn't be in shock if they go Gears 5, Kate's Story campaign. Campaign's going to be broken up into 5 episodes, everybody. That's why we didn't show it at E3. Maybe in September they'll be episode 1 of Kate's Journey starts in September. We're planning to release more content on Kate's campaign in December, and also in February we'll have the final part of Kate's campaign coming in February. Not saying they're going to do that, but I have a feeling that they are going to take their big tentpole games, such as Gears and Halo, and turn those into bites and spoon feed those to us to support the Game Pass subscription model. I don't think you would have a game of the level of Days Gone, graphically intensive, narrative focused, like very high production, or even God of War, to say, like these high production games that cost a lot of money to make. Microsoft's not going to dump those kind of games in a Game Pass for $1 a month. That's the issue. So that's why I feel that the games that everybody's looking for from Microsoft at the C3, showing the power of the X, they already kind of said it. Even though Phil took it back with his Phil Ness. Phil already said it. Like single-player narrative games are not financial. Like it was funny. The year that they were talking about putting games, and Game Pass launched, and they were talking about putting games on PC, both him and Dopey Sharon Loftus, both of them, Shannon Loftus said that it's not economically feasible to make a single-player, big-budget title and it be failed and not well received. It's a loss of money. Phil Spencer said the same thing when Gears and Horizon came out, when Horizon and Zelda came out, going, these type of games don't have the impact that they used to have. And then proceeded to get dominated about God of War and Spider-Man. They already laid the road to know The problem is that Microsoft cannot sell its games. Okay? Their games, and I think it happened after Halo 5. I think Halo 5 did not have the money sold for that system, for that thing that they were expecting. And they realized that they could not make their money back on big budget titles. So they had to find other ways to get more people to buy their games. And they put it on PC with Gears 4. That didn't work because Gears 4 players, PC players, did not want to play Gears 4 in the Windows 10 store. And then they like, now we're going to put everything on Steam in Windows 10. That's the third attempt. It is, Glorious. You're totally right. Kev, there he is. There's Kev. They are having trouble selling their games because Sony and Nintendo have struck gold with traditional console models, selling 100 million consoles, 40 million, gonna pass the Xbox. The only one that's talking crazy is Xbox. Xbox is PC, it's underwear, it's body wash, it's this. Xbox could be an app, it could be a fucking tissue, it could be this, it could be on your PC, it could be on your phone, it could be on your iPad, it could be on your tablet, it could be on your controller, it could be in Xbox is everything. It's body wash your balls, wash your ass, booty-os. They're the ones that are talking fucking crazy because they are just desperate. They are just diversing everything to try to sell their games. They're not out there being welfare. They're not going out there going like, oh, we're so friendly for you gamers. Like, we just want you to play our games and just be happy and eat gingerbread cookies and drink your milks and take your vitamins. And no. They are trying to find more ways to sell their games because they learned that it did not work. The console business for them was not successful in getting the money back for the games that they were making. Their games were not selling. Xbox condoms, Dakun, yes. Next year. Maybe at XO19, Phil's going to show them. He already showed the Xbox douche. Now we get the Xbox condoms. Like,
Ain't nobody got time for that.
They're the only console manufacturer that's talking bonkers. Nintendo's like, shit, here's a bunch of games Nintendo Direct. Sony's like, fuck, here's our games. The Last of Us might be coming out. There's rumors Ghost of Tsushima might come out in 2019. If Sony ends with those games, I don't care if Xbox has the power and the price. They don't have the content. And if you want to celebrate Xbox Scarlet being the most powerful console, that's great. Because guess what? Glorious Kev got one up on you because he got the most powerful PC and he's going to be playing Halo Infinite the best. Better than you line up for Xbox Scarlet. That's the world that Microsoft built. That's what they did. And how weird would it be to line up for the Xbox Scarlet online playing Halo Infinite on your cell phone while you're waiting for the Xbox Scarlet? Like, it's just whacked. But power does not matter. It is the merger of software and hardware to get God of War looking like that, to get Spider-Man. Sony had a pro come out there with checkerboard rendering and made Horizon Zero Dawn like one of the most graphical showpieces. Like, it looked crazy. People were taking screenshots like crazy. I was. The game looks incredible with the lighting. Like, it looked incredible. Microsoft has yet to do that. I felt like they should have delayed Gears of War or have a Gears of War expansion come out with the X. They did nothing. They had Lucky's Tales with the X. Lucky's Tales Zoo Tycoon. And Forza. That's it. Which came out a month earlier.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
What's with kids today, huh? No respect.
No respect to gamers. That's the thing. they don't know what their market wants. They're trying to satisfy too many markets here. And they think by doing this $500-$600 cell phone model with a console, it might work. Remember back when Phil's like, we don't believe in generations, and Sony's like, we believe in generations? And then Phil's like, oh, generations, yeah. Like, everybody was... Microsoft wants that cell phone model. They just want you to keep buying their hardware so you stay invested in their services. They're basically like a T-Mobile, AT&T. Keep buying the new phone and just keep paying for our, T-Mobile One, right? Now, Sony's in the service business too. So is Nintendo with its Nintendo Online. But the thing is like I said this so many times before, like Nintendo and Sony are being traditional with exclusives and software that maximizes their hardware. And they are dominating. The Switch is going to pass the Xbox at 40 million. In less than the time that Xbox has been here for, 6 years? Switch is going to do it in 3 or 2.5. Does that sound like a failing model? Like, people go that Microsoft's so smart. Oh, they're so clever, making more people play their games. Well, how did Crackdown 3 go for you? How did that go? More people play Crackdown 3, right? How'd that go? More people to play CFDs. How'd that go? It was a 60-40 split, console PC. Did it matter? Did Quantum Break, the first game that was cross-buy between Xbox and PC, did that fly off the charts in sales because it was on PC and Xbox day one? No. Did it? Did Gears 4 blow up because it was the first time a Gears of War game was on PC? Was the Windows 10 store that bad that Gears of War 4, a game that has never been on that console, on the PC, didn't sell and fly off the chain? Or maybe it will now with Steam. I don't think so. I saw some of the people talking about Halo Reach. And Halo Reach, they still lock it on PC. They said it's like playing a 9-year-old console game on PC. The hitboxes are not being adjusted, and it's still 90 degrees of freedom. PC guys are not going to deal with that. They're not going to deal with that. Just by putting your games on more platforms does not mean the game is going to sell cajillions. More people could play the game. But it doesn't mean software success if the game is not optimized for those platforms that it's on. So, Nintendo and Sony do traditional models and are showing huge success in their business. That business is growing. That business is selling hardware with software. Microsoft's the one that's fluttering around like a fish out of water right now. So, it's smart business for Microsoft to try to squeeze as much money as they can out of the gaming division. That's how I look at it as. They're just squeezing as much, whatever they can do, just to squeeze money out of their gaming division. Put it on phones, stream it, put it on phones.
We're really focusing first on what it means to play these games on your phone. So we thought about how can we get as many people playing on a phone as possible.
Why? Why you want as many people playing on a phone as possible? Is that the experience that you want your premium Xbox Scarlet, Xbox One X, paying Xbox Live customers to have? Little Johnny playing on McDonald's Wi-Fi on Halo 5 against the guy who's playing on a Dolby Atmos surround sound 60-inch TV, paying for Xbox Live. Little Johnny's paying for a little streaming an hour of Halo 5, and he comes into your game talking shit to you. Or Glorious Kev with his amazing setup, sniping your ass, and you're the paying Xbox Scarlet, the premium customer, according to Phil. Is that what you want? No, it doesn't make sense. To a gamer, it doesn't make sense. Why would you want to play on all those different platforms when there's all imbalances? But for business, for somebody who's trying to squeeze, it's like, yo, we make chicken fingers. We can make chicken fingers. We could also brand it as chicken parmesan. We could also brand it as chicken franchise, add some lemons to it. We could also brand it as chicken sandwiches. We could cut them in half and call them chicken nuggets. We could put barbecue sauce on them and call them barbecue chicken fingers. We could put ranch on them and put them on a salad and call it a chicken salad. But they're the same chicken finger. So what Microsoft's doing is taking the same game and trying to put it all different variations, thinking they'll sell more. Just like all you make is a chicken finger, and you got to find 20 different ways to show how that chicken finger could sell. If that's the best analogy that I could come up with. Is that you're just taking Halo 5 or Halo Infinite and just go put it on everything. I'm getting you hungry. Put it on everything. We got to squeeze every dollar out of this game. Yo, put it on Game Pass because those dudes will just subscribe for it. It's business on their end to squeeze money out of games that are not selling. And I think if Sony and Nintendo see their games don't sell, maybe they'll do something the same. But right now, they're riding high right now. Microsoft's the one that's a fish out of water, flooding around, grasping at air, gulping, trying to get back into the pond. And this is all randomness. They were not prepared for E3. They stumbled with Stadia. Google already got them beat. Google got them beat already with streaming. They got prices, they got games, they got devices, they got pre-orders, go. Microsoft comes out there and go, oh, we're doing remote play cloud. Like, what the fuck? What are you talking about, remote play cloud? Hybrid cloud. What? What's the price? What's free? What's not free? What do you mean your servers and my server and my thing's a cloud now? What the fuck are we talking about? What's going on? Like, what are you talking about, Microsoft? Like, and I'm a cloud?
Huge cloud of shit. Wow. God, I think I smell it. Come on, let's go.
I gotta pay.
They confused the shit out of everybody because they were ill-prepared. Same thing with the Scarlet. They went out there just talking. They really didn't say anything. But it's not about the power. It's so superficial. Because if it was about the power, you would just buy a PC. Especially if you care about Xbox, because all their games are on PC day and date. You're not missing out on anything. So, we're going to go back and talk about power, right? We're going to go Xbox OG. Was the most powerful console. Came out after the PlayStation 2. Now, that was different. Did that win the generation? No. We talk about last generation. The Xbox 360 was weaker than the PlayStation 3. And the weaker console dominated. The PlayStation 3 tried to catch up, but then guess what? The Wii, the weakest console of both of them, that came out after both of them, managed to beat them. Wow, no, I didn't hear that, Jemai. Getting Game Pass through GOG. Oh, man. I can't wait to get Steam with fucking CD keys. Gears 5 with CD keys. Oh, let's go. Who the hell wants to play Game Pass? I'm going to wait for Gears 5 to be $30 or $20 with CD keys. Or Green Man Gaming. Shit, on Steam? Woo! Those codes are going to be flying all over the place. I bet you Microsoft has, that's why Xbox Live is involved. I bet you, like, Crush checks those codes. Who knows? They'll do some bullshit. Yeah, that Brian V, and that's where a lot of this kind of animosity comes from when I hear them talk about Xbox, because a lot of the bullshit that they talked about and demonstrated on how they failed Windows Phone is reflective of what they're doing right now to the Xbox brand. They can't get devs to support the platform exclusively, so they got to try to rebrand it. They did the same thing with Windows Phone, and the fact that they were like, put your app on the Windows Phone. It works on Windows, the Windows 8, and it'll work on Xbox. Remember, they try to make it as easy as possible, but nobody wants to do it. Windows is not cool to dev for. Like Google, everybody wants to develop for that. Apple, everybody wants to develop for that. But Windows, for some reason, it's just like old men. They don't want to do anything with it. But it's just like old devs. It's like, hey, I'll like mess around with it. But back to the power thing. Like, it's just, we need to wait and see. Because now the whole thing with the Lockhart. Remember I said before E3 about this Lockhart shit? I said that it makes no sense in having a lower powerful console around the same price point as an X. I said it had to have a hardware differentiation. Maybe missing a CD drive. My guess was that Lockhart was a diskless Xbox One X with a better processor. And maybe the sad edition of the Xbox One S showed I went on Best Buy today. It has like 50 reviews and it's like 2 stars. 2.6 stars on Best Buy. Nobody wants this, it said. All the reviews like, nobody wants this. Nobody wants this. Now, is it haters? I don't know. It's Best Buy. I can tell you that it was in the store when I went there, like 6 of them. Just sitting there. The One X only had 1 left on the shelf, but who knows if that's real or not. You know, if they have more in the back. But have you heard of anybody buying a diskless Xbox? Anybody? Bueller.
I don't think so, sucker.
I don't think so. That S came out to crickets. Crickets are still chirping. So maybe they realized that a diskless console, they're still not ready for it, and maybe that's what Lockhart was, and they just are not bringing it up. But again, you announced it would have been 4 consoles. Like, you announced a new family of devices. Like, you announced the S, you did the S, the X, the diskless console, and Scarlet, and did not announce new AAA IP at all. And just think you're just going to keep selling hardware. If you look at it, if you want to think about the cell phone industry, look at the cell phones. What does Android do? Oh, here comes Android P to work with our new phone. If Android stayed on G, gingerbread, and Samsung just kept making the Galaxy 3, the Galaxy 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and Android stayed on gingerbread and did not update its operating system, would the Samsung cell phone sell? No. A lot of people buy the new cell phones. I know I do, because it supports the newer operating system. Android P, Android Q. Apple does it with their thing. Do you think if Apple stayed on iOS like 7, and they just came out with, oh, here's the A4 chip, the A5 chip, the A6 chip, the A7 chip, A9, A10, 11, 12. Here's all these, and everybody's like, but you had never updated the software. It's the same old ass software. No, actually, Apple uses their software to the advantage. They keep updating the software faster. That makes your hardware busted. That make you go buy new hardware. So Microsoft sitting here not announcing brand new games that will take advantage of the more hardware and still trying to sell you hardware. You sold me the X. What game power for the X? What, Forza? Is it going to be Forza 8 next year and we'll call it a day? Is that how it works?
Don't do it. I'm warning you. Do not do it.
And I think people have been saying it too. Like, the other challenge that Microsoft has with the reveal of Scarlet, and they saved these games for next year. Dude, it's like screaming at a concert next year. Sony is just going to show. They're all going to show. Nintendo might release a more powerful console. Sony's going to show all of its shit, sequels, and the things they haven't shown this year. And Microsoft's going to be like, oh, and here's our indies, here's what all little studios are making. Oh, and Fable, Boris Kept Secret, ha ha ha. Nobody's going to care. You were at this E3, and this is where I'm going to say, this E3 was Microsoft's open mic night. It was just them. Who knows if they're going to have this opportunity next year? It was just them to get the message clear, crystal clear.
Good riddance to bad rubbish.
This was open mic night, and they showed nothing. They showed indie games and showed nothing of their tentpole games. The few that they have at Halo and Gears. Nothing. And showed a 4v4 shooter. Again, didn't even give a demo of it to get us involved. Nope. And then you see, if it wasn't shown at the show, how much coverage? We got gorilla cams, people holding cell phones up to, I got some footage. That's how you want to show your game. You demonstrated it in the best light on that stage there. You show people why we should buy your game. You get people hyped at that show. You don't have people with their gorilla cell phones going, I got some off-coverage footing of Gears of War. Hey, there's a guy there. That's not how you sell your game. Oh, here's some wrestlers playing our game. No, that's not how you sell your game. Oh, go buy Gears of War has signed up with Fubu clothes. Go buy some underwears and sweatshirts and all that other shit with Gears branding on. No. That's not how you sell your game.
I don't play this game.
Doesn't that bother any of you because it scares the living piss out of me?
Not how you do it. That messaging was very bad. Open mic night. Compared to next year, when Nintendo and Sony bringing it, everybody's there. If Sony goes to E3, who knows? But it's going to be them trying to shout in a crowd at a concert. The impact will not be as great. Unless they do some like $300 price point to next generation and blow Sony out of the water. And that's the only way. But I said this, I was trying to go back and listen to when I said this. And this is what I said back when I had my revelation. It was with the Xbox One X. And I said, if Microsoft priced the Xbox One X price was going to tell me where the future of Xbox was going to go. If Xbox One X was priced at $400, that will show that they're serious about this console space, trying to get back into it, and they want to be competitive with Sony at the Pro by offering a more powerful console at the same price as the PlayStation 4 Pro to be competitive. If they price the Xbox One X at $500, Microsoft does not care about the console market and cares more about PC and bringing their games to PC and other platforms. They are not in the console business to win it or to be competitive. That was my frame of mind going to that E3. And I said it on one podcast from not this show, because I didn't have this then. It was either I wanted to listen to play on Xbox. It was, I don't know if it was on that, or it might have been one of those shows, or somewhere else I was doing a show. I might have been on maybe Press Start or something like that, but I think it was Press Start. I don't remember, but like it was something that I said that because I don't want to say like I'm just saying it now, but that was believe me if you don't. Yeah, that's Smooth. Smooth must have heard that. Yes, a difference of $100. Exactly. See, Smooth. I think because that's exactly probably what Kid Smooth said to me when I said that. He's like $100 is going to show you where they are. Yes, because the $400 was going to be competitive with the Xbox. And I think Smooth said the same thing to me. Like, I was crazy. Because there's a lot of... I went back to go listen to old Planet Xboxes. And me saying about they were fixing Master Chief Collection because they were going to put it on PC. They yelled at me about that. No way. They're updating Master Chief Collection just for the X. What are you talking about? Well... Master Chief Collection's going on PC. I was a month off. I said by the end of last year, it was a month off before they announced it. And actually, it was supposed to come out in October. But, word to the wise, sometimes I don't talk out my ass because I see where Microsoft as a company is going. But I said that. And now, that price of that Xbox One X was $500. And where did their focus go? Not competing in the console space. And that was it. That was my mentality of the whole thing. And I remember seeing Jeff Keighley's tweet going, it's $500. I was like, no fucking way. It can't be $500 when he spoiled it for everybody. And that $500 is a big deal. Because I'm telling you right now, if that Xbox One X was $400 at launch, I think there would have been a little bit more movement than we saw now. I don't know if the chat agrees, but I feel that thing came out at the time that it came out. Remember, this was pre-God of War, pre-Spider-Man. This was when it came out. If it was $400 and if they could have squeezed in like a Gears DLC or something with that at $400, I think we would have been talking a different tune. I think they would have made a little bit more, much more headroom than what they have been, sitting that thing at $500. Because they still have not dropped the MSRP to $400. They should have done it at the E3. I don't understand it. It would have been a great opportunity to revitalize the Xbox One X. Yo, Xbox One X is having an official, with the announcement of Scarlet, which we're not talking about that much today. We're taking the Xbox One X and we're dropping the price to $400 and throwing in Anthem. Some bullshit. If anybody plays Anthem anymore. With a new bundle. You know? I thought it again, they had open mic night. It was open mic night. They had the whole world watching them. The biggest stage at E3. They could have done a lot of stuff. They could have said, they could have really laid down the law against Stadia. People thought that. After Thursday, people thought Microsoft's going to kill Stadia on Sunday. Instead, Microsoft stumbled and said, oh, remote play. People were like, what the fuck? What are you talking about, remote play? What's clouds? Who's clouds? What's the price? What games? Your game's on the remote play. Like, okay, guy, do that, whatever. Okay, next. Scarlet, most powerful console, blah, 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 blah. Like, what is Scarlet? Like, you know, what I thought that they were going to announce kind of their plans. Like, we'll have a most powerful console and we'll have a lower priced one. But then Rand said, like, you're not going to announce Lockhart. Well, then coming out of E3, now they say Lockhart doesn't exist. But, again, they had the open mic. They could have really was clear with their messaging. Instead, they chose to hold stuff close and stumble, and they were not prepared. It seemed that they were not prepared to be confident. Confidence, that's the thing. I don't think they have confidence. Or maybe they do. I think they have confidence on the mic when they talk all this outrageous bullshit. But when it comes to acting on it, I don't think they have confidence and putting it their mouth to the ground to show and demonstrate what the hell they're talking about. It's like, oh, it's going to be in beta, user feedback, and like, dude, come out and tell us why we need this. Sell this to us. That's your job. Your job is to sell this to the consumer. Not to just go out there and go, well, we got a purple, we got a blue. And I did this analogy last night. You go out to dinner with your friends. Guy, everybody's like, well, where do we eat? I don't know. Options. There's McDonald's, there's this restaurant, there's this one. Everybody can make an option. It's that one person that says, we're going here to eat. You're coming? You want it? Sure, we'll go. It's the leader. It's the person that says, yo, I has a suggestion. I think we should go here. That's the person everybody listens to. But if you have a bunch of people that are indecisive, you go nowhere. You're standing in your driveway going like, where do we go? I don't know, man. Shit, I got to go home now. It's 11 o'clock, man. Like, I got to get to bed. We couldn't decide on where to eat because everybody has all these options. Indecisiveness. You're a business. You cannot be indecisive. You cannot be like, well, it's options, half-ass options. You could do this. You could go here. You could go there. Very lackadaisical. That does not work. You got to be to the point, directly to the consumer, and make the consumer have a demand and make them want this shit. Those Nintendo people screaming till blood was coming out of their eyes for Banjo and Smash. Do you think those people want options? They're like, oh, you know what? Oh, shit. You think they're all standing there in that Nintendo store going, you know what, guys? It's not fair that we play Smash on it. They should put Smash on PC so more people play Smash, you know? Yeah. No, we shouldn't just play Banjo. No, everybody should play as Banjo. That's not right. Like, I don't see Sony in a meeting room going like, you know what, guys? Like, I feel bad. Like, everybody should really play as Kratos. Like, maybe we could try to put, God of War on the PC and Xbox. Like, more people should play as Kratos. No. But Microsoft, they are nuts. Nintendo people are nuts. But Microsoft's like, oh, they should play Minecraft. Everybody should play Minecraft Dungeons. Everybody should play as Banjo. Woohoo! Not Xbox guys with Banjo. Oh, let Nintendo play. They appreciate Banjo. And then think about it. It kind of reminds me, it's like, do you think that because the Xbox games did not really sell on the Xbox console, like, that's why they had to pursue this? Like, they try, and I think the shit hit the fan when Halo 5, when they had Gears Ultimate, Halo 5, and Tomb Raider that holiday. And they had Fable Legends, too. They were saying that was coming out there. But the best lineup ever. Which, that was a pretty impressive lineup. Gears Ultimate, Gears and a Halo. Gears Ultimate, Halo 5, and Tomb Raider. Exclusives. When they really had true exclusives. There was no PC bullshit back then. I think when they put that big push that year, and they won MPDs the year the Halo come out. But I don't know if maybe they said, yo, we bought the Tomb Raider exclusivity for a year. It really didn't impact our stuff that much. Halo 5 didn't have the legs that the other Halos had, maybe. People were upset about the story and all that other stuff. Like, and yeah, Jemiah, you're right. The lack of sales. I think that year was the year, because after that year, the whole story changed.
And that's it. I don't want to hear nothing else.
That's when the story changed. The story changed after that, because then they started talking about Quantum Break is going to go on PC, and then they started doing this whole PC thing. Now, it could have been just bad time, like just timing, but it just seemed kind of weird after they they had the biggest launch lineup ever, the biggest lineup of games ever for a holiday, to then start talking PC, more games everywhere. Like I said, Nintendo and Sony see dismal sales of their consoles. I'm sure of their consoles and their exclusive games. I'm sure they'll do the same thing. But I do think that this is not Microsoft just being smart. I think this is Microsoft just trying to sell their games to as many people as possible, because these games for some reason did not sell. Either they did not have enough consoles out there, or the messaging of the Xbox became more people watching TV than playing games on it. Maybe that's what it was. Like, they sent that TV messaging out, and maybe a lot of people bought Xboxes, were not playing games on it. Maybe people just bought Xboxes for their media center, and maybe that's why not a lot of these games sold. Because the message at launch was TV, multimedia, here's some games. Which I love the games that they had at launch. But that was just me as a gamer. The media stuff was a bonus. But maybe people, just bought it, hey, you know what, HDMI through, I could swipe and yell at my TV, blah, blah, blah. And maybe of the 30 million or 40 million or the million that they had at the time, a lot of those people were using it for entertainment purposes and not playing games, which made those games and those game moves that they made early on not really sell. So now they got to look elsewhere. They got to put it on mobile. They got to make more people play and all this other stuff. Because that's the way they went. I'm glad it's about gaming now. It's just, I don't agree to, like, the mobile, PC, Xbox game, they're all the same person. I don't agree with that. But, just back to the power thing. It's like the whole thing with the power is that the most powerful console never wins. And again, there was a lot of factors that, like Albert Pinell said in that tweet, it's price, power, and content. And Microsoft had the content, but they didn't have the power and the price. Sony had the power, price, and some content. Again, the indie darlings they had, which I think if they showed those games now, people would joke. But again, it's the start of the generation. And I'm sure we're going to see the same shit next year. We're going to see all these little games using 8K, little pixel shooter bullshit. First 8K game ever, 8K. I'm going to be like,
Come on.
Don't bullshit me.
I'm not buying a $500 console to play pixel shooters. And that was my problem with the PlayStation 4 when it launched. I was like, why would I buy a $400 console to play a bunch of indie games? I want to play Rise. I want to play Dead Rising. I want to play Titanfall. I don't want to play Stardust. I don't want to play Contrast for a $400 machine. And that was my point in the whole PlayStation 4. That's why I didn't get one, because it was all those little games. And Microsoft had games. They had Titanfall. They had Gears, Ultimate. They had Halo. They were coming with the Halo. They were coming with games in the beginning. But then all of a sudden, they just shit the bed. And they just said, you know what? Our games everywhere. The games are not feasible. And then PlayStation said, and here are our games. And they just blew it out of the water. I was like, shit. Yep, T-Game players. That's right. Oh, all my games will run at 60 frames of the PS5 through back. Oh, yeah, trust me. They're going to be throwing out hertz and kilohertz and gigawatts and
Who is your daddy?
all that bullshit and saying, who's your daddy? But you know what? The power thing, NVIDIA, it really does not matter. If Xbox is more powerful, that's great. But the caveat with Xbox is that the games will look better than the most powerful console because they have put their games on PC. So the demand to have the most powerful console will only satisfy those who choose not to go to PC. But in the grand scheme of things, you're not playing the best version of Halo Infinite. You're not. For $500-$600, you're not playing the best version because the guys on PC will be playing the best version of Halo Infinite. And that is a caveat that Microsoft has to explain. And I don't know, if you're trying to sell more copies on PC and gain day one in Steam, how do you ignore that to try to give a benefit to your Xbox Scarlet? Oh, for those console players, like this is the challenge that Microsoft has put themselves in. How do you sell people more hardware who already felt burnt with the X, and the fact that you didn't even address it this year or even talk about X enhancements or talk about anything on stage with new games? You dropped some X enhancements on Rare Replay, yay, and then said we're done with backwards compatibility, see you at Scarlet. So that was a bittersweet moment, right? I don't understand the logic. You can't satisfy both ends of the spectrum. They're spreading themselves too thin. They need to focus on the core and expand from there. That's my take on what they need to do. They need to give the core what they wanted. They should have focused on more Halo and Gears in that thing, get people hyped up for those games, and show the other shit at an indie reel on Major Nelson's podcast. Instead, they chose to show all that stuff. All those cartoon shits. Didn't even have a bunch of third-party bangers on stage. They even say like, yo. Even Cyberpunk, they didn't even show like gameplay. Yo, this running on an X. Here's Cyberpunk running on an X on stage. They didn't even acknowledge the X. Remember when Anthem came out? They're like, this is running on an X. Oh yeah, because that's when the X was like they were chewing on microchips. Well, this year they weren't taught. They a year and a half out, it's already dead. You're right, TJ. The T gameplays. I know. This was the worst generation to lose because and you know what's interesting too? A lot of people downplayed talking about next generation. A lot of people are like, if Sony doesn't do backwards compatibility, Microsoft has a chance. But Sony now has said that they're doing backwards compatibility. And their whole point of backwards compatibility, of supporting the PlayStation 4 on the PlayStation 5, is to migrate those people over to the PlayStation 5. That's why this is the worst generation to lose. There's not going to be no hard reset like there was with the Xbox One, where 360 and PlayStation 3 were like, nope, You start brand new with your library. And Microsoft was clever with backwards compatibility into trying to give you more games so you stay within their ecosystem. The problem is that they didn't give new games. That's the issue. They didn't give any new games to go with those backwards compatibilities. Instead, they just said, hey, here's your old games. Enjoy. It's like, no, I want the new games to complement the old games. They didn't do that. You know, you're gonna redo this game. You're gonna make this game backwards compatible. Then you should make, like, I thought, because you're working on a new one. Like, oh, they redid Voodoo Vince. Oh yeah, because they're making Voodoo Vince 2. Oh no, they're not. Oh, they put Battletoads in Killer Instinct because they're gonna make a brand new Battletoads game. Holy shit! Look what that turned out to be. Oh, they're putting Conker in Project Spark. That's because they're probably gonna make a Conker game, right? Nope. Nope.
No deal.
Take it back!
Nope. But, you know, shout out to 25 watching, man. Thank you. Hit the like button or dislike, whatever you want to do. But, you know, just gonna wrap it up on the final thought, which pretty much it all comes down to just what I've been saying, is that the most powerful console, it's just a measuring stick, I think, and a lot of people are using this and playing on the words of what these executives say. And I'm going to tell you this, guys.
Now, whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
Don't listen to any executives. All right? Don't listen to Sony executives. Don't listen to Microsoft executives. Don't listen to them. They're talking out their ass. Phil Ness is running wild. That other dude, what else his name is? Sony. That guy, like, just don't, just like, you know, oh, Booty spitting out the shit, you know, Booty spewing ass. Just Jim Ryan, that's his name. That dope. Just they are scrambling right now for Mark, like, just for hype, and just take a chill pill about this whole fucking power thing. Okay? Who's gonna have the most powerful in the world? Who's this? Who's that? You know what? It's about the games. It's always been about the games. And the one thing I do find very, very interesting is that when I see people on Twitter going, power is the most important thing to me. Well, I really, 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 really hope you didn't buy an Xbox One at launch when you know the PlayStation 4 was more powerful than the Xbox One, if power meant so much to you. Or does power mean so much to you because of the X? Because if that's the case, you should have a PC if power means so much to you. But I was in the group when I bought an Xbox One that it's about the games. The 90p, 900p versus 1080p, yeah, that pissed me off. But I wanted Titanfall. I wanted Gears. I wanted Halo. It was about the games. And Sony didn't have the games that I liked. But when they started coming out games I liked, then I got a PlayStation. I don't go where the power goes because I go where the games are. And then the PlayStation 4 Pro balances those three things: content, price, and power. And you're right, Kuhn. And the biggest thing that people don't realize is that the X was $100 more. It was $500. The Xbox One with a camera, less powerful, and the PlayStation 4 was and focused on more things than just games. Where Sony was about games, whether it be indies or not, it had the better multiplats, and it was $100 cheaper. I don't care if Phil took it out of the box the spring of the next year. The damage was already done. November, the damage was done. People chose their line in the sand. They chose their side at launch. Sony came out a week earlier, and the damage was already done. The message was about TV, the Kinect, and then it became underpowered with the resolution. I went back and listened to videos. People were like, oh, that resolution thing is just growing pains of the console. It'll get fixed. Never did. And it got bigger and bigger. And then when it was $400, it was like, why will you pay $400 for a system that is showing weaker multiplats? You would if it had the games. And it did have the games. That's why it was so crazy why the PlayStation was selling. I remember, like, listen, why is the PlayStation selling so much? It's because it hit a nerve. Microsoft pissed people off with their messaging, and that messaging cowed, because if you made sense, the Xbox should really gain ground because it had the games. But because they led with Kinect, you have one time to make a first impression. Their first impression was not good. And that carried with them. To this day, we still talk about this stuff. To this day, we talk about 2013 and the fiasco that it was. That's how much of an impact it had on the gaming industry and this generation. It's ridiculous. You couldn't even get a crazier fucking generation. UWP, DirectX 12, the Kinect SDK has been removed. What else? PC development's going to improve Xbox. The cloud. Like, it was just a fiasco of messaging. Windows 8 is busted. Windows 10 is going to fix it. Hidden GPU. Secret sauce. Xbox One X, the most powerful console in the world. There's the Scorpio. Oh, xCloud. No, I mean remote streaming. I mean...
We're really focusing first on what it means to play these games on your phone. So we thought about how can we get as many people playing on a phone as possible.
I'm trying to use the phone!
It was a fiasco. Like, seriously, it was a fiasco. And now we're here at the precipice of these consoles being announced and the power. And you know what? Sony can mess up, say stupid shit. But you want to know what? As long as they show games, people can show shit. That's the thing. If Microsoft had a bang E3 and showed a whole bunch of games that everybody was hyped for, the stupid shit wouldn't come to the top like oil and water. But because they didn't show the stuff that we wanted to see, or what they should have had shown when they had open mic night at E3, the biggest showcase in the world, all the bullshit, all the stupid stuff, all the shoulda, woulda, coulda, all comes to the top. They failed. They tripped over themselves. They showed games. And it's like, well, Microsoft, where are your games? Well, we showed 60 games on stage. 44 exclusives. Did you miss Crossfire X coming to Xbox? The most popular game in the world. 750 million people playing in Korea. Nobody knew. Did you hear about Smilegate? Yeah, we heard. Yeah, that day. Like,
We're really focusing first.
You heard about
on what it
phones?
means to play these games on your phone. So we thought about how can we get as many people playing.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You bastards! You vicious, heartless bastards!
Let Mortal Kombat begin.
except they killed them. There was a shadow fight. They killed themselves.
You want to spend the rest of your life with your head up your ass? Be my guest.
And that was it. They showed Well, I got to get a sound of a rabbit. XO event. XO event? See you in October. You don't know what the problem with XO is. When what do you say? It's October, November? I think it's November. Right? The fuck? When's XO 18? XO 19. When is it? Anybody in chat? When's XO 19? I think it's November, isn't it? Oh, you didn't say when it is. Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't even know. Guys. October, November. Okay, well, I got two things. One thing. October, November. What are we all going to be doing in October and November? At least on the Switch and PlayStation. Oh, no. Yeah, and I guess on Xbox, I guess, with Gears and stuff. We're all going to be playing games. You got Pokemon. You got Death Stranding. Even got Gears 5. The games are coming out. It's on a day it lands on. Who gives a fuck? That's right. You want to know? I'm going to tell you, Brian V. You know what? To go along your lines, I'm going to tell you right now. On the dedicated X0819 London thing, Microsoft is teasing, quote, I don't know if I should play Benny Hill when I read this. Microsoft is teasing. Oh my god. I want to see this. I can't look at the article and see this. Where is this? I want to go to the official website of XO19. Because I can't believe they're saying this. Hold on. All right, so on their official website, maybe it's Xbox Wire. Oh, here it is. Here it is. What? Oh, there it is. I think that's it. Is it true that they're saying? All right. So the advertisement for XO19 is coming sometime in November, they're speculating. And Microsoft is teasing that it will be, quote, the largest live Inside Xbox episode and Xbox event of the year. Cue the music.
I'm trying to use that phone!
Quote, the largest live Inside Xbox episode and Xbox event of the year. The largest live Inside Xbox. But I thought Inside Xbox is not an E3. That deserves an LOL to the chat. It's the carrot. And they announced that the day after the world's biggest show. The world's biggest show, E3. E3 is so relevant right now that Microsoft announced 2 follow-up things. XO19 in London and see you at Gamescom. That's how relevant E3 was to them. Oh, God. I tell you, I said it all before. All of them. They all got to go. Phil, that stinky-ass booty, Ybarra, Shannon Loftus, they need a clean sweep. Or give Xbox to Albert Pinello at Amazon and let him do something worth a damn. Because you guys over there have no clue what the core audience wants. And you choose not to listen by unfollowing people, Phil. You go to the core. This was your show. And just by giving the core more hardware to buy, without supporting it with the software, that the funny thing is, before E3, it was lists of studios. And now after E3, we're seeing the same list of studios show up. E3 2019 has come and gone. And Xbox fans are left with the same, probably more questions than answers. And more
What the fuck?
moments that where Xbox is going. E3 has come and gone. We're still talking about studios. We're still talking about what if they made this. We're still talking about, I hope that they could do this. And the biggest stage, the most relevant gaming news source, when Phil himself said, this is when we transcend the traditional media and go to where people could listen to us that the typical people don't. Like we go to do outside media. Listen to us. Yeah, they're going big next time. They're going big. Booty goes big.
Who the hell are you talking to, son?
Booty goes big.
My ass hurts just watching this.
They all got to go. They got to bring it back to the core audience. The Xbox fans that they forgot. But maybe they're forgetting us on purpose. Maybe. Because we didn't buy their games. Or they didn't think they sold enough of their games. I bought their games. I bought all of them. That's why when Game Pass came out, I said, fuck that. Because I got them all already. And guess who got shafted? Me. The dude who bought Halo the Chief Collection on launch. Me. Because guess what? If you subscribe for Master Chief Collection through Game Pass, you get Reach and everything for free, included in your subscription. But if you bought it, you'll have to pay for Firefight and Reach campaign. Which I hear, they're not really redoing it anyway. They're just they're not even giving it the anniversary treatment. They're just putting it out there on PC, and just run it. 9-year-old game. They're not giving it the anniversary edition. And that thing didn't break. That thing didn't break. I bought all those games. At launch. $60. All of them. Sunset. Rise. Master Chief Collection. Gears Ultimate. Quantum Break. I stopped at Recore because I knew that game was trash. I stopped at Sea of Thieves. And I played the game. I played the game. You want to give your shit out for $1? I'll buy that for $1. You think your game is trash? I think your game is trash. If you don't have confidence in your game, why should I? If you don't want to sell me on your game or tell me more about the story or show me more stuff and you want to hide it, I think the biggest thing that people need to question right now, the biggest question out of E3 right now is,
What the fuck?
Is going on with Gears 5 single player. Because it wasn't too long ago, we came out of E3 2018 going, what do you mean Crackdown 3 is about the single player? What about the destruction? Is it that long ago that people forget? We came out of E3 2018 going, well, why did you just show Crackdown 3 single player? I thought, what about the cloud destruction? Is it still in there? Oh, we'll show more later. Remember? Well, wait, Crackdown 3, Phil's all bigger than ever. Bigger than ever. People on Twitter, oh, Crackdown 3 is going to be huge. Phil loves this game. I don't think Phil knows what a good game is if he tripped it on the street or slapped him in the face. I don't think he knows what a good game is. You could see he scoured the globe. He scoured the globe, and he came back with Crossfire X from Simplegon, whatever the hell those people are. Smiles. Schmiles. He scoured the globe and came back with Crossfire X. They scoured the bowels of the world. And then Phantasy Star Online 2. Oh, and then goes on Giant Bomb fucking 24 hours later and goes, oh, of course it's coming to the Switch and PlayStation. Phil, are you in there? What's going on? Hello? Hello? Dude, just hold on to the news, man. Don't. He goes to Giant Bomb and goes, yeah, of course Phantasy Star Online. Yeah, oh, it's going to the other consoles, of course. Like, Phil. Humana. Hold on to that news. Like, oh yeah, of course it's coming to the
PlayStation, PC, or Xbox, but the one I'm going to buy. And just to be clear, I think everybody, well, local storage, I'm not sure.
Does that feel
like for me, one of my most magical, okay, are we going to stream the game? And okay. Does come from our install.
What did you say about Phantasy Star?
Like, we have to stand up at teraflops, all the kind of stuff we talked about was the thing that you wanted. We wanted to make sure we had the memory bandwidth and the GPU to deliver. We're going to continue with our xCloud work, and we're going to continue with the magic that's being put in there. But we look at it as me running local hardware. Is there something constructs in today's multiplayer games? People call it generation, certain people won't. But about the next console, which I like, so we don't have to all know what's going on and pretend.
And so when will people hear more about Scarlet? I know XO19
in London in November. Sign up.
It is November.
We will clearly continue the dialogue. I think the thing I do like, and both us and Sony are doing it, is we're talking a little earlier about a generation or about the next console. What certain people call it generation, certain people won't. But
see, you hear that? There's always a little fullness. Here we go. See, he don't believe in generations. That's why it's like some people call it generation, because he knows that Sony refers to this as the next generation console. Microsoft don't consider this as generations. That's why he corrected himself. He's like, some people call it generations, or because to Microsoft, this is not next generation. This is just an iteration. That's why they're so easy with just going, yeah, it's more powerful. Xbox One X is 4 times more powerful. They think they're doing the cell phone model. Sony's doing the generation discussion. I think both of them will be equivalent in power. It's just that one has a different outlook of it as opposed to the other one. And what did he say with this thing? I wanted to hear
of gameplay. If you look at the number, your Xbox experience, but they have a name. They gave it a date. We knew we were going to announce October when it goes into preview. And you've tried it.
That there are potentially just tons of new players that might not even know anything about the Gears franchise.
That's right. And there's just like, I have to library of a couple hundred games. Obviously have Power PC. Want to buy them from us?
The 4 generations of.
And I know certain people were kind of picking up on the words that I used. And hey, you used to say most powerful. I really can only control the console I build. I don't have a PS5 dev kit, so I don't know what they are, what they're building. We both are AMD. You know, the kind of spectrum of technologies that are out there are pretty similar. At some level, it's going to be what price point do you pick?
Right.
So I did.
See, at some point, it's going to be a price level you pick. So, like, what he's saying exactly what the whole thing is. Like, if Microsoft decides to really go for the power and wants to be the most powerful console, then they might just go like, yeah, give us the extra hardware hyper-threading and make their console $600 or $500. And Sony might be like, you know what? Just do the software hyper-threading. Exactly the same thing with the X and the Pro. The X is like, yo, we're going for 4K native. And the Pro's like, yo, we're going to do checkerboarding. That's the way they kept the Pro down to $400, and Microsoft had to go at $500. So that's the whole point. Like, it's all going to appear what price point they want to do. And I think Sony's going to try to go for the more aggressive price point because just like back in the thing, Sony wants to sell the consoles. Microsoft would like to sell them, but they're not going to take a hit to sell the console because they could get you in the door in other ways. See, Microsoft's given itself an out. Microsoft's given itself to get you in the door through other venues. You could get in the door through PC, you could get in through mobile, you could get in through the low X. Like, they're trying to get you in other ways, where Sony is going to try to get you through the way they know, which is console. And in that case, they got to make sure that their console is the most competitive price out there to get all those 100 million people over to the PlayStation 5. That's their job. PlayStation 4 guys go to PlayStation 5. So therefore, I can see Sony being much more competitive with their console. Maybe they don't go for the top of the line specs. Maybe Microsoft does. But Microsoft's going to pay, you're going to pay accordingly. And I don't think Microsoft should go out there with a $100 more console. I don't think they should do that. I don't care if it's more powerful or not. Microsoft has to match that price if they're going to even try to be relevant next generation. Because if they come out there with a $500 console, Sony comes out with $400, and they're like a teraflop or 2 teraflops apart, Sony's going to whip the floor with them because Sony's going in with momentum, and Xbox isn't. Especially the more and more Phil controls everything else. So the power narrative is really not going to be the thing. It's going to be the content and the price that bring into that thing. Because I don't think if Microsoft could give you the same, like a more powerful console for the same price or undercut Sony, now you're talking business. But I don't think Microsoft's that aggressive in the console space to do that because they would have done it with the X. If the X was a transitional console, the way to get you into the marketplace, they would have been more aggressive with the X. Even to this day. To this day! They would have been more they would have been more liberal with the pricing of the X. They would have dropped that thing to $400, $350. Like, really been aggressive with the X to get people in the door and see that power. Instead, that shit's been sitting at $500, and they're on clearance for the Fallout, because I bought that Fallout 76. And Plays Unite, did you hear that now, according to that Sony chart, which I want to go through those spreadsheets too. Like, I can't believe that some of the shit that Sony put in those spreadsheets that they had, those PowerPoints. But one of the things was, like, they said that Ghost of Tsushima is targeted for 2019. I'm like, they got Ghost of Tsushima coming out 2019. Death Stranding coming out 2019, and Last of Us 2 coming out February. Jeez, oh my God. I don't think they're going to have those 3 games. Yeah, and Kojima's the first party. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. But acquisition stuff, like, it is what it is. It is what it is. But it's just the momentum going into the generation. It's going to be, what games can I bring with me to the next generation? And when you look back, it's going to be like Microsoft, you're going to look back and see maybe 1 or 2 people, and it's 1 or 2 games, and then Sony's going to come back and it's like, here's this whole lineup. Like, I'm playing this. These games come with me to next generation. And that's what's going to be a big thing. That's why, like, I think who said it? It was V. What's his name? And you guys agree. And Brian V said it. This was the worst generation to lose. Yeah, Ghost looks pretty cool, man. It does look very cool. But, summary, power doesn't matter. Who said what most, and Phil just said it. He don't have the Sony dev kit. Like, they don't know who's the most powerful, and who cares? Because the most powerful console in the world is out right now. It's been out. We're a year and a half in, and, does it matter? No. And again, the only way that power would matter is if Microsoft comes out with a more powerful console and either matches or is lower. I think it more so if it's lower than Sony. If Sony comes out and goes, a $500 console, and they don't have like certain hardware features, and Microsoft does, and Microsoft comes out at $400, that's a game that's a shift. That might shift people. Now, yeah, the games then might keep people where they are, but that is something that you go, But if both of them come out at the same price, people are just going to go where their friends in the library are. And then if Xbox comes out at a higher price, more powerful than PlayStation, it's just going to be the Xbox One X and Pro revisited again. It's going to be the same thing. We have already seen that scenario. What does a more powerful, and the difference in power between the X and the Pro, I think, is definitely a larger increment than I feel that the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Scarlet would be, because they're targeting the same type of hardware. Maybe it's a teraflop here or there or something like that. But I think the power difference between the X and the Pro is a bigger gap than what we see next generation. So even people go, the 5 is stronger than the Scarlet, and the Scarlet. I don't think the power difference is going to be that large as the Pro and the X. And we've seen it now. A $500 X and a $400 Pro, nothing really happened. But if Xbox comes out with a more powerful console at $400 and Sony says, we could do $500, now the tides might change a little bit. But at the same price or higher, I don't care how much power is in that thing. It's not going to compete. I don't think it's going to compete. They got to undercut the PlayStation. So if Phil could say, let's not make the most powerful console in the world. Let's find other ways of making that power effective, like Sony did with checkerboarding. We could imitate it, but we could get the cost $100 less than Sony. Let's do it. But that doesn't sound like the Microsoft of today. I can't see Microsoft making those cuts and compromises to undercut Sony in the console space, because I don't think it's that. And then on top of that, you're right, Players Unite. Then it's about the games. And if Microsoft had a whole big lineup of games, and maybe they could do that leverage, and maybe they would try to compete at the same price. But Microsoft has to go full out kind of undercut mode for this generation. And if Sony comes out and goes, I'll console $600, and if they both come out and they're like $500-$600, I'm telling you right now, you're gonna have a lot more people just sticking with the X and sticking with the Pro, unless Sony puts like PlayStation 5 only games out. Which that will be kind of counterproductive to getting people to migrate to next generation. And then on top of all that stuff, you got the Switch. That's right. Switch is not the most powerful console. And how the hell does the Switch, which is not the most powerful, is the weakest console, and the Xbox has the most powerful console out there, the Switch is going to pass it in sales? The Switch is coming up to the 40 million, 30-something million or something like that. If Xbox ain't got 40 million, 45 million, like, the most powerful console in the world is not giving them any kind of leverage at all. And they haven't done it justice. They have not given it the games that it needed. And like I said before, people say exclusives are anti-consumer. No, dopey. Exclusives are the most important thing, because exclusives demonstrate the power of your hardware, because they're being made exclusively for the hardware. So an exclusive game should demonstrate the power of such hardware. Exclusives are not anti-consumer. Exclusives are demos for the hardware. The custom chips. The custom... Why would Microsoft and Sony spend all this research and development to customize all this bullshit just to have somebody make a PC game and port it over? Why? It makes no sense. Why would you do that? You make the custom chip in a closed box so that you get the most power for the best price. And the way to do that is having your developers stay focused in making an exclusive game for said hardware. Not making your studios make for the X, for PC, for xCloud, for all the other bullshit things. All the different variations of video cards and AMD cards and processors and configurations and RAMs and... No. Corey Balrog said, what's my spec? You got a 2 teraflop and a 4 teraflop. Go, Corey. And Corey gave us God of War. Corey didn't have to worry about... Shit, how does Kratos gonna run on that 20? Shit, they just announced the fucking 2080 Ti. Oh shit, how's Kratos gonna run on that one? And what are we gonna do? 970, maybe 980 they could run on it? No, Santa Monica doesn't have to worry about that. But the initiative in Santa Monica does have to worry about all those PC configurations and Windows 10 updates. And Steam, and Windows 10 Store, and Xbox Store. And I'm sure that puts a toll on a development team when they got to do multi-platform development for every single one of their games. And an exclusive studio that just works on the console hardware. That's why exclusives matter. They matter for sales, they're driving the hardware, and they matter in game development. Because those games maximize. The best looking games are the exclusive games. Nintendo's, Sony's, and it was an Xbox, the 360. 360 got Gears of War and all that other stuff. You know? There were some of the best looking games on that 360. But anyway, it's games, power. And know what? Pinello, of all people, didn't say services, which is interesting. He said it's games, power, content, power, and price. He didn't say services. Maybe he wised up going to Amazon. Who knows? But he didn't say services. But he was a hardware guy, so he knows what he's talking about. He knows how hardware is positioned. And he's not there now this go around, so I don't know who they're going to have. Kratos doesn't have a jump button. That's right. Exactly. A Trial by Fire. Yeah. Last of Us 2 is going to look great on the PlayStation Slim. Best value in gaming. There you go. $300, $200 for a Slim. And you can play Last of Us, and it's going to look great. I'm telling you. Last of Us. That's what happens with exclusives. So people that are saying exclusives don't matter are the ones who don't have exclusives. It's sad to say. But that's the truth. You know? Exclusives matter. They mattered when I bought an Xbox. The exclusives matter. Now, I agree. It feels good. I think it was a poor showing of Halo Infinite too. You know, they showed that bogus kind of CGI workshop thing last year, and then this year they just show Master Chief in a again. But the thing I took away from the Halo Infinite one is that I guess that's how they're gonna kind of, because and I said this on our last show when I was talking about how Xbox is trying to make their games accessible and casual, and they're trying to get people that don't play Halo to get back into Halo. Same thing why they're sampling Gears arcade mode, you know, instead of they want more people to play Gears of War, or they're expecting more people with Game Pass. So with the Halo Infinite, I think they should have showed something a little more expansive. Give us a hint. But I think what I took away from it is that the fact that Master Chief's floating around and you know the Halo ring's busted and stuff. It kind of looks like a post-apocalyptic, like Cortana wiped everything out, and you're just gonna grab Master Chief and go try to figure out what the hell went on and fix it. And you're gonna have that dude that saved you and kind of like buddy cop. That's what I'm getting the feeling of. Which is the only way they could kind of get rid of Halo 5. You know, the whole like, hey, the band's back together. It's like, nope, Cortana blew everybody up. It's like, okay. Back to square one again. That's the way they can reboot it, in a way. Not worry about Locke and you know, the Arbiter and Halsey. Everybody's together again. And it's like, it's like, nope, Cortana just blew everybody up. Reboot. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know what they're doing. I just think it's hilarious that 343 is like 400, 500 devs working on one game. Meanwhile, they're telling me all these studios that Microsoft bought, they're working on 3 and 4 games. They're 100 people deep, and they're like 20 people projects. What games do you think they're making? Please. They're making little games. They're making little arcade games. That's what they're making. Majority of those studios. There are 110 people. Oh, yeah, they're working on 6 projects. Oh, shit. We're making a racing game. We're going to make a top-down shooter. We're going to make a card game. Like, you know, I'd rather take 120 people, 200 people and say, go make an amazing AAA blockbuster story, a game. You know, and the other comment I had, just going off on another thing, but like the other comment is like a game like Bleeding Edge, right? They got the multiplayer aspect, and maybe the multiplayer is fun. I signed up for the beta. I'll try it on the 27th. But like, where was somebody going, you know what? Let's make this game bigger than this. This multiplayer seems good. You know what? I think we could build a story out of this. Or, you know, let's make this game a bigger game than what it is. Like, it may be just like an 4 versus 4 multiplayer game. But you know what? Why don't we do some co-op? Why don't we do like a campaign and, you know, start doing things. Let's do some backstories to these guys and stuff like that. You know, and I'm not saying that you know, like, I don't want no tacked on single player, but where's a person that says, let's make this like, what happened to the whole like single player campaign, and you know, and like multiplayer? Like, why would we just get like, it would be nice. So it's like, you know what, that's a great idea. Let's blow this up and make this like a, you know, let's make this a bigger game than what it is. But now, this is their vision. It is what it is. But anyway, again, I've gone long enough. Too long, and Grind has been holding strong, man. 31 people. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Share this out. Like. Don't like.
Let Mortal Kombat begin.
And I'll be back for another episode of What Grinds My Gears.
We're really focusing first on what it means to play these games on your phone.
I'm trying to use the phone!
And to all those people still out there, XO18, XO19 and stuff. Next E3.
I went ahead and ordered some.
Hey, man.
Don't do it! I'm warning you, do not do it!
Just...
Sir, do we get the win this time?
Who knows, man? We will see. But thank you, guys. This has been Jez for another What Grinds My Gears. And I am out. Good night, and have a good time, guys. Thank you again for the support. I'll talk to you guys soon.